Hello, this is Chris Heasley with the Chris Heasley Radio Show. News in Fort Bend County. There has been a multi-million-dollar robbery in Fort Bend. Millions of dollars have been stolen from a Fort Bend County governmental entity. The Fort Bend County MUD District, the Fort Bend County Municipal Utility District number 35 is reporting that $8.2 million have been fraudulently wired out of their accounts. Officials have been able to reclaim $3.4 million of those $8 million, but there is still a fat $5 million sitting out there in someone's account. $5 million of taxpayers' money that's gone. Poof, gone. Your money gone. And your county officials don't have a lot to say about that. This is being investigated by the FBI. There are no suspects at this time. But if you have any information, call 713-623-4531. As of this time, I can find no public comments by certain pertinent officials on this matter. President Piero Battistini is the president of the Municipal Utility District number 35. I can find nothing said from him. Sergio Handel is the Municipal Utility District number 35 vice president. I cannot find anything said, any public statements from him. Wendy Duncan serves as the president of the Association of Water Board Directors, which is an organization that supports our dozens of municipal utility districts in Fort Bend County. And I can find no public statement from any of these officials. The money's gone, and we have more questions than we do answers. Nobody's talking. And so that's where we are today. A massive robbery in Fort Bend County. We're going to talk more about this. On today's show, we have Alexandria Butler, congressional district for CD9 candidate, running a really good campaign right now.
Yes, we've been good. We've been doing pretty good,
yep.
Chris.
And we have Tamara McFarland, just announced running for the Fort Bend County Clerk of Courts.
Woo-hoo. Yes, thank you so much.
And may I say, is this your first interview after announcing your candidacy?
It is.
Very good.
Yes, thank you.
Well, we are doing our job then.
Yes.
Bringing you on first. I'm very proud of that.
Thank you. I just wanted to add to what you said about this MUD 35 scandal and lost money. Apparently 2 or 3 million was recovered, but there's still, as you said, 5 million outstanding. But interestingly, I noticed that the vice president of MUD 35, the MUD that lost the money, also sits on the board of directors, the board of trustees for this Association of Water Board Directors. I believe that is led by President Wendy Duncan. He is still the Gulf Coast Board of Trustee for that Association of Water Board Directors. So, interestingly, I mean, if you're losing that kind of money, of taxpayer money,
right?
I don't understand why you're still sitting on this Association of Water Board Directors.
At this point in time, there appears to be no professional consequences to President Piero Battistini, president of Municipal Utility District number 35, nor does there appear to be any consequences professionally to Sergio Handel, vice president of MUD 35. How do you lose $5 million?
That's not even your money.
And then you don't have anything to say about it.
Nothing to show for it. They say follow the money, right? Follow the nonprofits they start. A lot of times when there's temporary monies given, you see that people that, on the left and people that claim to be on the right but act like they're on the left, you see a lot of mishandling of taxpayer money. I mean, this is just across the board. They're thieves. Okay?
And then there's no accountability or
Zero.
no statement. The public wants
no
to know.
personal
Taxpayers want
This
to
is
know.
B News in the newspaper. This is B page news,
Or
right?
C.
Okay, so when you go look this story up, I saw it on Texas Scorecard and one other place. They don't mention any names of any public officials. They don't say the word robbery or theft. It's almost sort of like just a thing that happened.
They lost it.
They lost it. Why don't they talk about it? Because they don't want you to ask questions.
Right.
They have to report it, so they report it in the most subtle way while $5 million of your money has gone missing, and they don't want any questions raised. In this common sense conversation, we will present more of an idea of potentialities
Right.
than anything you can find online.
Absolutely. It's going to start off as an accounting error, some sort of a mistake. They're going to call their accountants in to take a look at what's going on, and it's going to seem real serious, And, I mean, they could just cook the books.
Well, the question has to be, I mean, my first inclination is it an inside job?
Yeah.
Okay, we all have wired money.
Yes.
You have the banks have such a stupendous amount of security measures in place with fingerprints and
Yes.
codes and all of this stuff, keys that put up a number, you got to put the key in.
That's right.
How does somebody wire $8 million? When you wire out $8 million, it sends an alert to the banks. You don't just
Absolutely.
wire $8 million and people don't know. They have to know where that money is.
Yes, they do.
And apparently that money was sitting in an investment account. And this is something that I've always questioned about the MUDs. They are investing in these MUD investment banking firms.
Interesting.
And they make interest from that money. However, Chapter 49 of the Water Code says that MUD districts are supposed to reinvest money into the districts that they serve, pay for irrigation, pay for parks, pay for
Right.
recreation improvements.
This is their
in the district.
responsibility.
This is their responsibility. Is their core mission is not to invest money. Yes, have a buffer, but you're not an investment banking firm. You're not there to make interest off of that.
Right.
So that $8 million should have been employed in the district to improve, pay for irrigation,
Absolutely.
pay for parks, pay for improvements, better drainage. So we definitely see that issue with the MUDs. That they might not be necessarily following Chapter 49 the way that they should be, in the benefit of the citizens and taxpayers that live in the district.
These organizations lay in the shadows. Does anybody even know what a MUD is?
No. If
Okay,
you say
when you
that,
hear that word, that
people don't.
acronym is horrible, by the way.
It is.
MUD,
Till you get
right?
your tax bill.
Right.
Then you know.
It's a horrible acronym, and it's purposely confusing.
It is.
Municipal Utility District. What does that mean?
Right.
And what they do, they always, AWBD, the Association for Water Board Directors.
Yes.
What is that nebulous organization?
Right.
All of these nebulous organizations that in some way or another have influence over the community jar, right? Over our tax dollars.
Yes.
And it's purposeful that way. They keep it purposely confusing. I had to spend a whole night studying this stuff to be
Who
able
are
to
they
talk about this
accountable
today.
to?
Yeah.
Who are they accountable? Because aren't they accountable to us? I mean, we elect people, right?
Yep.
And we expect them to, organize things, do their job. So when things like this happen, who are they accountable to?
Right. MUD board members are voted in, and
Yes.
most people don't even know about a MUD board election, but they're very important because you pay MUD taxes.
Right. Doesn't this
They
involve our
provide your
sewer?
water, your sewer, trash, often the trash. So it's very important to get involved and understand your MUD. And oftentimes the MUD board meetings are held downtown at a large law firm miles away, but Chapter 49 of the Water Code requires that it be within 10 miles of your district. So citizens can actually do a letter and request having those meetings in their district because no one can
But
drive.
who knows this?
No, I know.
You know
Yes.
what? I think I'm so glad that we're even talking about this right now because the regular voter is not as informed as they should be about their local elections. Local elections in general have consequences.
Yes.
And so when we're not participating in these elections, we're going to get what we get over here.
Yes.
We're going to get $8 million stolen.
Rarely do people know who their MUD board members are or how they got elected.
Oh, my goodness.
And they do control millions of dollars. That is your most local election. So get involved and learn about your MUD.
Yes.
So when you start a company, in order to open a bank account, you have, of course, not a personal bank account, but a business bank account, you have to have a company.
Yes.
You have to have an LLC document filed with the Texas Secretary of State.
Yes.
That bank has all of that information online. Everyone can trace these wires.
Yes.
Where did the money go? And why aren't we being given this information?
Is it public?
I could not find any statement after the news articles had come out. There was no statement by any of the MUD board members or the Association of Water Board Directors. And it was just shocking to see that the vice president of MUD 35 still sits on the Association of Water Board Directors. So there has to be accountability when maybe you personally didn't lose that money, but you're in charge of that money. You're accountable. you know?
Right.
I got this comment from a listener. Listen to this comment. Quote, good question. There were unauthorized transactions. How does that happen? And who did those transactions go to?
Right.
And why did the MUD receive only a partial amount of the money back if the transactions were unauthorized? Who made the transactions? And why is the board still intact? And the president of the board remains not only in that board, but on the overall water board with Wendy Duncan as president, unquote. That was a comment that was on a thread.
Excellent question.
Very, very, very
These
suspicious
questions
stuff.
just open up more questions. I mean, because we're not getting the answers. Like my question is the banking information public? Because, when you're a candidate, we're candidates, we have to open up a political account. And everything, all of our transactions are public.
Yes.
Okay. So are these also public? What bank? Can we see the item, the line for line transactions? Is that available to the public? Because they're tampering with the taxpayer money.
You can do a public information request with your MUD.
Like a public FOIA
I've done that
type
with
thing?
my MUD. You can do a public information request, and they have to provide that. That's all public. It's our tax money.
We present these issues every week. Our Fort Bend County is being run in a haphazard way. The ship's sinking.
Yes.
There's another story that I'm not going to get into. I just want to mention it briefly, but I don't know if you heard about this. Attack Poverty. Secrecy surrounds funding arrangements for Attack Poverty Flourishment Center, where essentially the county sent this nonprofit group millions of dollars, and the money went poof. Then the county spent money to go get that money back. It's a complete boondoggle, and we are supposed to believe that one instance after another, it's just haphazard. We live our lives. We don't have issues like this in our personal accounts.
Right.
But the county officials always are tripping over themselves, and oh my goodness, and good gosh darn it, I screwed up.
I lost $240 million.
Yeah.
Oh, how do you do that?
Yep.
Honestly, I think what you just said with that story, with that headline about the nonprofit, that's actually the typical way that money is laundered.
Yeah.
So whatever that nonprofit didn't do for them that they were supposed to do and scratch whoever's back, it probably didn't happen. So that's why they spent so much money trying to get this money back. Because a lot of times these nonprofits are not really doing what they say that they're doing. And all it is just a way to funnel money from one place to another, and then it can disappear and go into whoever's hands. We don't know.
Now, I believe the county paid about $3 million for that building, and now it's leased to a child care center because the Attack Poverty project went defunct.
Right.
And I know
Real
that...
quick, what was the Attack Poverty project?
So it was going to be converted, this old church was going to be converted into a homeless type shelter or a halfway house.
Yes.
I'm not sure
Or
why
some sort
it
of
didn't-
transitional.
some sort of transitional housing. I'm not sure why it went wrong, but the county, Fort Bend County, purchased the building for about $3 million, and then
Okay,
they
but is
gave
the
Attack
building worth
Poverty.
$3 million? That's the first question I have. That's a lot of money
It
for
is.
a building.
For-
You said an old church.
Yes.
I mean, how can a church be worth that much?
I haven't looked at the proper. I did look at
Who
it from Google
vets
Earth.
this stuff?
So, yeah.
I mean, no, houses are different because people will live in houses, but you can't live in a church, and they're vacant everywhere. I question that right
and there
there.
was cash given to Attack Poverty, and then
Cash?
Yes, there was also cash given, a grant given to Attack Poverty by the county. I believe it was about 300. I don't want to quote that, but in October 2024, Christian Becerra and J.C. Jatan joined the board of Attack Poverty to try to, I assume, save the project, and then more money was needed to try to recover the project, and apparently it was not recovered and ended up costing taxpayers another $2 million or something like that. So very, very poor use of funds, taxpayer funds by Fort Bend County, and it's just a mystery still to everyone.
We elect people that don't know how to spend money correctly.
That's right.
And they
And I like
don't
to-
vet.
Yeah. I'd like to point out that the county now wants to do an expansive project on the exhibition center, where we have this exhibition center. And what the county wants to do is they want to add a hotel, and they want to add parking garages.
Nice.
And they want to do this when they've put us in over our heads in debt. And we drive by that exhibition center all the time. It's always empty. The parking lot's a big open parking lot, completely empty. And they want, I think the number's $160 million. They want to put us on the hook for that. These people spend like a bunch of drunkard sailors.
Yes.
I should just say the word drunks. They spend like a bunch of drunks at the bar.
Yeah,
well, under
I
Democrat
agree.
leadership, I mean, Fort Bend County is experiencing a debt explosion.
Yes.
And so, you know, we need to elect conservatives that are fiscally conservative.
We're
We need
seeing
to
it
take
in
that
Harris
back.
County.
Okay.
We're seeing it in Fort Bend County.
Yes.
When you let the left control you, this is what happens.
They spend your money and
All
they
right.
overspend it.
Okay, we're gonna get into the nuts and bolts of what we're here for today.
Oh.
Okay. So what happened? Per the interview I did with Andy Myers about 2 years ago is when they redistricted the maps away from normalcy. Correct?
Yes.
So we had maps set up that always gave the Republicans a fair shot at winning elections. It's in Fort Bend County. There are 4 precincts, right? So in your county commissioners' courts, there's 4 precinct commissioners and there's 1 county judge. The judge is not a judge that sits on a bench. He's essentially the county manager, and he's the chief executive of the county.
Right.
And so on matters for the county, you have 5 people voting.
Yes.
4 commissioners, 1 judge, essentially 5 vote in all matters. Up to about 2 years ago, the maps for the 4 precincts that would determine how these things play out, they were done somewhat fairly. And what was happening is that there was a proposal to adjust the maps just minorly, nothing big, just a tiny bit. And what happened is according to Andy Myers, the county attorney, Bridget Lawson, stepped in and said, wait, we can't vote on these new maps that would adjust things just a little bit. And she cited Robert's Rules of Order, which makes no sense at all. But essentially what it appears she was doing was using her ability as the county attorney to confuse the issue, cite legal nonsense to stop that vote. And at that point in time, I believe, as I understand it, Dexter McCoy came in with new maps. Andy's sitting there saying, where did these maps come from? These new maps were created, so we have some sort of a circus act here happening, right? Comes in with these new maps that are hugely distorted, that distort the county to set it up for a consistent Democrat powerhouse win over and over again. This is the story according to Andy Myers. I may have gotten it wrong a little bit. Go back and watch the interview we did with Andy Myers and Matt Morgan.
Yes.
And as such, now we have a 3-1 Democrat-favored county commissioners court, ensuring no matter how much amount of activism and awareness that we create, the Democrats have a hold on that $1 billion Fort Bend County budget in perpetuity. And then they can tell you how to live your lives forever with no accountability. Okay, but what happened? 2 years later, Matt Morgan comes in because during that process, I believe KP George and other officials stated that the maps were largely done based on racial lines. Right. And Matt Morgan came in and said, you can't do it based on racial lines. That's against the law. So here we are today going to vote on new maps. And as such, okay, so that's where we are today. Okay, so.
Could I ask a question?
Please, yeah.
Okay. Does KP George becoming a member of the GOP have anything to do with why this stuff was kind of voted on? Like,
well, now
does it
we have
change the votes, or I mean,
exactly. We have a Republican majority on the commissioners' court for the first time in years. Right?
Okay.
So this redistricting that they did, the bait and switch of the illegal maps drawn on racial lines done by the Democrats was in about 2021 in time for the 2022
and that's
election.
what KP George had signed off on, why he was in the news, and he was in a lot of trouble for that.
That's right. And now that he's switched over to the Republican
Very
Party,
interesting timing.
He's saying he didn't know that it was illegal to draw maps on racial lines, but it was a last-minute bait and switch where commissioners didn't really even get to review the maps, and it was something to do apparently with the county attorney and Dexter McCoy, commissioner for Precinct 4, right? And so now we're at a stage where we've got the 3-2 majority. The commissioners' court voted to create a charter.
Okay, hold one second. I want to do our featured product, and then I want to explain a little bit more detail, give some background. Our featured product is the X39 patch. This patch is incredible. It stimulates your stem cells. It gives overall healing to your body. It is incredible. I have not talked to anyone that this has not had a powerful impact on in one way or another. A couple of examples. Pedro's a carpenter. His hand is blown up from inflammation from hammering nails. After 1 month on the patch, the hand goes back to normalcy, and he has no pain in that hand anymore. Maria falls and hits her head in the shower, hits her head on the porcelain shower. and she has headaches for 10 years. She puts on the patch, the headaches go away in a minute. I have a PTSD war veteran friend who has to take heavy meds to sleep at night. He has to deal with all those PTSD issues. He takes the patch. He no longer needs sleep meds to sleep at night. As for myself, I have a heavy dependency on caffeine. And after taking this patch, I no longer need caffeine. It's amazing. I wake up crack of dawn, alert, working on no brain fog, working on the most meticulous matters. And in addition to that, one big thing is that after 40, men get that pressure on their bladder. They have to go to the bathroom every so many minutes. It's awful. And this patch has fixed that for me. It's incredible. I feel liberated. So it's the X39 patch. It's coming. It's big. I can't put enough words into it. It just has such an incredible. One more, David in Fort Worth had spots in his eyes, and he was increasingly getting spots in his eyes. He does the X39 patch. Not only did the spots go away, but he has clear vision. He doesn't need glasses anymore. So it's the X39 patch, and it stimulates your stem cells. Text the word Patriot to 330-606-2304 for a 30% discount. I'll just tell you, it's $100 a month. You can't get that price anywhere else. $100 a month. You put it on 12 hours a day. Take it off 12 hours a day. That's it in a nutshell. It's really incredible. I will never go back. My productivity is off the charts. It's incredible. Okay, tell us. There are 4 county precincts. Who are our county commissioners?
Okay, we've got Grady Prestige.
Prestige.
Prestige. We've got Dexter.
And he's a Democrat.
And then he's in precinct 2 or 4. 2 or 4. I always mix it up.
I don't know.
Dexter McCoy, I believe, is 4.
Yes.
And then Grady
and
is 2.
Dexter McCoy's a Democrat.
Another
He's
Democrat.
also a Democrat.
Yes.
And then we have Andy Myers in precinct 3. And
Andy's a Republican.
Andy's Republican.
Commissioner Vincent Morales, he's in precinct 1. So now we
Vince
have...
Morales is a Republican.
2 Republicans.
And he's a Republican. So we've got 2 Republican and 2 Democrat. And the only reason that Andy Myers prevailed, well, he's well loved, but they did redistrict him out of his own home in 2021. And the chances of him winning that race was less than 10%. But because of the Terrell Patel scandal, Andy Myers won, and thank goodness. So now going forward.
Okay, real quick, I want to just say,
yes,
the Democrats go for the jugular. They do not they fight. They fight with intensity. They go to get Andy Myers literally out of the county. Andy Myers is the only guy bringing common sense to the budget.
Right.
We are $2 billion in debt. We're in the top 1% of debt in the state of Texas. 254 counties. We're number 3.
Yep.
yes.
Andy Myers is sounding the alarm, trying to get people to understand. So what do the Democrats do? They get him sectioned out with this redistricting. Evil brilliance on the part of the Democrats.
Evil brilliance.
By the grace of God, because the Democrats fumbled the ball in the end zone, their doofus candidate does this Facebook scheme where he's impersonating residents of Fort Bend. He gets busted, and that saves the county, and Andy wins. And then the other thing is that KP George was also doing that scheme, and so he's getting prosecuted, and in an act of desperation, he's switching parties to the Republicans.
Yes.
So now we have by the grace of God, it's like a Hail Mary pass.
Right, that's exactly
We
what it
have
is.
a 3-2 Republican majority in Fort Bend right now. Yes. So what we can do, we can put together a map that is 3 Republicans.
Come on now.
1 Democrat.
Come on now.
And end the lawlessness.
Come on. Look at God.
End the insanity. What we can do, 3 Republicans, 1 Democrat. Would the Democrats wouldn't do that to us? No, they'd play fair. Yeah, right. The Democrats go for the jugular.
They would stomp
Will
us
the
down.
Republicans do it? 3R to 1D. And in doing so, we can give the new Fort Bend County judge the pathway to fix the debt problem in Fort Bend County. Right. Ball's in our court. Tamara, what's up?
Okay, well said. So I just want to point out that when the Democrats redistricted in 2021, those were illegal maps. Now, what we're doing here, it is completely legal to draw maps based on political lines. And of course, Republicans are saying, while we have a majority, let's get the 3-1 map.
Yes.
Now, from what I understand, the map, the original map that everybody liked was called the city map, which did give us 3-1, but the margins
Okay,
were
real quick. City map 3-1. What does
Republican.
that mean? 3 R's to 1
Republican
Democrat is
precincts.
called the city map.
Where's
Yes.
that map at?
So if
Yeah.
we could please, going forward, so we say, let's keep this. Whenever we say the word city map or the other maps, we always say 3R1D.
Republican.
We always have to say that. Okay, go ahead.
You got it. So, city map that was proposed, the original one, map one, had 3 Republican precincts and 1 Democrat precinct. However, this is based on composite data using multiple elections, and the margins here are very slim on those 3 precincts. And there, the charter that was given to the redistricting committee by the commissioners' court. So the commissioners created a charter, and Andy didn't want to do to Democrats.
Real quick. The county commissioners, what they did, they created a redistricting committee to advise them on the different options on a map. And then every county commissioner was able to appoint 1 person to this redistricting committee, correct?
2, I
2
believe,
points.
yes.
2 people.
Are we allowed to know who's on that committee?
Yes. So there's, Jacob Lee.
May I ask one question? I'm sorry.
Yes.
So does the county judge also get to appoint people?
I believe so. That
So
part
then it's 10 people on this committee.
there's 10. I know that
Okay.
there's 10 people on this committee. I know that the chairman is Jacob Lee. Then we've got Wendy Duncan, who was appointed by, so Jacob Lee was appointed by Andy Myers. Wendy Duncan was appointed by Vincent Morales. And then the rest of the,
Wendy Duncan, the one we were speaking about earlier, correct?
yes.
Okay, Wendy
my-
Duncan, the woman who is the director of the association, the president of the Association for Waterboard Development, is also.
Also on the committee for
Yeah,
redistricting.
she was appointed by Vincent Morales for this redistricting committee.
Wow.
Intriguing.
I'm not sure what her.
Very powerful woman.
Yes, I'm not sure what her experience with maps is, but nevertheless, she's on the committee. Now, I can speak to the map that she submitted was the WDRY map. Now, Republicans were really upset by this map because it essentially gave Democrats almost a 3-to-1 advantage.
Wait, but
Three
she was
precincts.
appointed by Vincent Morales.
Yes.
Okay, so she was appointed by a Republican.
Yes.
Okay, so she might be conservative Republican,
I'm not sure what her political
but
persuasion is. But
she knows how to read and create maps, and she brought a map of her own. This is what you're saying to me, that she brought a map of her own that favored the Democrats. So it was 3
It
Democrat, 1 Republican, and
It absolutely favors the Democrat.
Interesting.
It gives 2 absolute Democrat precincts and only 1 Republican precinct, and the 4th one would be a toss-up. Really.
Why would she do that if she's appointed by a Republican?
Well, this is the question that everybody was asking. And
So Wendy Duncan, okay, let's just step back. She is the director of the Association for Waterboard Directors, right?
Right.
She's the president of the Association for Waterboard Directors, which has a influence over our dozens of municipal utility district.
Right. Mud.
And then in addition to that, she's given this pivotal position to decide our political future, have a considerable influence on our political future by drawing these maps up.
right.
And she's appointed by a Republican, Vincent Morales, and of course we're all expecting her to do the right thing. And she goes in and she proposes a heavily favored Democrat map.
Exactly. Yes. This is definitely, I mean, you can't argue this is a Democrat-favored map that was proposed by Wendy Duncan. Now, thankfully, that map has been voted out by the committee, and I'm really grateful for that because
But it's interesting. She exposed her hand
Yeah,
that
but
way.
by
'cause-
Very
doing that, what she does is she sets the negotiation. She sets the tone of the negotiations.
Yeah.
So when you have the Republicans going in and they have a 3R1D map, and the Republican appointee goes in and says, I want a 3D 1R map,
1R.
immediately the 3R1D map is off the table. Because you have to move to the center because now you have a liability on your team that you have to compensate for. So what she essentially did, she did a considerable contribution to the Democrats of Fort Bend County.
Yeah, she just did.
I can say that in the committee and in the public hearings, all the Democrats were favoring the WD Wendy Duncan map.
Of course.
So
Why wouldn't they?
You know, that was another sign that this was definitely a map favoring Democrats.
Is it possible to shoot for 3R1D and then maybe possibly settle for a lesser one? Or, I mean, is that possible? Like shoot for the stars,
So-
right? And then we still win. You don't
Well,
understand what I'm saying?
And this is exactly what Republicans should be doing when they have a majority.
Oh, yeah, that's what I would think.
There's nothing unethical about, drawing political lines. However, The commissioners voted on a charter that was given to the redistricting committee where Andy Myers is a good man. He's
Yes,
a
he
good
is.
commissioner. And he didn't want to do to the other commissioners what they did to him.
Why not?
Well, because being a conservative is not a political party. It's a way of life.
Right.
And we don't want to do unethical things.
When you have the Democrats spending like drunken sailors, when for the past 2 years they've told us how to live our lives in the bedroom, when they're sending in the most egregious materials into our children's in schools and corrupting their minds, you take an active stance against them.
You gotta take authority.
Name one thing that the Texas Democrats are bringing to the American people that is of value.
Right.
Name one.
They've harmed
They are
us.
bringing
They've
nothing
harmed
to
us.
us of value. They are the enemy within the gates.
Absolutely.
They are the Trojan horse here to rot us from the inside out, and it's
Absolutely.
working. No,
We got to take authority.
I mean,
and they're
this is-
hurting the children.
It's like when dad comes home, right? Everybody starts getting in line, right? But dad means authority. So we have to take authority because they have harmed us.
Yes.
We cannot allow them to have authority over our children, over our voters, over anybody anymore. So we have to come in and say, we got to clean this up.
We
Right.
just had Kenneth Amori on talking about the state of debt in Fort Bend County and what it's doing to our
Shocking.
senior citizens.
Yes.
Shocking.
Our senior citizens are being threatened out of their homes. And Andy doesn't want to take an aggressive stance against the Democrats because it's not the right thing to do.
And I get it.
That is not acceptable.
Christian doesn't mean weak, though. Like, we're conservatives, right? I'm a conservative Republican as well, very conservative. But there is a time to fight. And that time is now when we have the majority. We have to be smart.
Fort Bend County is turning into Houston. You go into downtown Houston.
You don't want that.
You smell urine.
Yeah.
You're stepping over homeless. How many dead bodies in Houston in the past week?
22. Oh, not in the past week, they
Brazos.
found 5 in the bayou, but 22 total.
And it's the Democrats.
Right.
When Houston was run by Republicans, it was solvent. It was decent. It was family oriented.
Civil.
And now this is bleeding into Fort Bend County
And our
when we're
surrounding
seeing the
areas.
homeless out everywhere. We had Greg Barnes on talking about Helping Hands, about how his organization is overwhelmed with helping the impoverished in Fort Bend County.
Mm-hmm.
The agenda should always be the citizen first.
Right.
We're only as strong as our weakest link. And what does that mean? It means our people that are impoverished. The goal should be to get them out of poverty,
Yes.
and not be honorable and reach across the aisle to the party on the other side.
I will say this, that even the 3 Republican, 1 Democrat map doesn't give us enough of a percentage advantage to secure those precincts.
Okay, but we're in the Trump MAGA era. In 2020, Trump got 38% of the black minority vote.
And 55%
It's
in
over.
Texas for the
It's
Hispanic
game
vote.
over.
That's right.
Go talk to Pakistanis about
Yes.
who they're voting for. Go talk to
Yes.
our ethnic minorities. Talk to our Cubans, our Vietnamese, our
Yes.
Chinese. The Democrats propose themselves as the bold defender of the small guy, of the minority.
Right.
And that is falling through
And people
like
are
a lead
seeing
weight.
it, though. They're bleeding and hemorrhaging members in the Democratic Party. People are waking up big time. I think what people are really tired of seeing in the Republican Party is the weakness. They're tired of that because Trump is not weak. When you see Trump, it's like, oh, that's daddy right there.
That's right.
He's the one that's saying law and order. He's trying to set things aright. But the Republicans are like, well, we want to be fair. And that continues that political theater that the people are tired of being stuck in the middle
right.
of. They're tired of the blaming on the left, blaming on the right, and still nothing's done in the middle. That's what people are sick of.
Right. I will say that Fort Bend County, the needle is moving to the right.
It has to.
2024 was amazing because
Yes.
of Trump.
Yeah, I want to say, whenever we get in these situations where we're about to spike the ball in the end zone and win the game, it's like a WWE skit, right? They go, the bad guy's on his back and they count 1, 2, and at the last minute they pull him up and he gets his shoulder off.
Right.
They have to keep the Democrats alive to keep the circus act going.
Right.
Okay? And so, so what you have is these Republicans who don't want to finish this game. We had the ball in the end zone. Wendy Duncan shows up and gives a 3D1R map.
Yes.
Other people don't want to vote because it's not the right thing to do. Give me a break.
Now, I will say, so both the WD Wendy Duncan map has been
It's
voted
out.
out by the committee.
It's not a thing.
And as far as I think I looked at the votes, she didn't vote for this map in the end, the amendment to the map in the end. So that's good because we've got the Wendy Duncan map is out. The city map is out because our Republican percentages were not strong enough in those 3. We couldn't get there. And there's a lot of non-political considerations.
Okay, what's the city map? What's that one?
That's
Okay,
the
so the
3-1.
city map was the 3
3R.
Republican, 1, well, 3 Republican,
Yeah,
1
I'm
Democrat.
going to question that. But
Very
the other thing I
slim.
want to say real quick is that whenever we're about to win, what the establishment Republican does, they
Come
say,
on
oh,
now.
it's too risky. Too risky. Pull it back a little bit. And I
Well,
mean, I like risk.
I'm a former auditor. I'll tell you, when I'm looking at these percentages, when you've got 50%, so one of the precincts is 50.07% Republican, 51.25% Republican. In a slight blue wave, we are
There's
now.
no blue waves coming. Joe
But-
Biden's gone.
You end
Barack
up-
Obama's gone.
But we're not securing a precinct at all. So
They're
what-
saying that the percentages are too
too low.
Okay.
To ever secure that.
Because that's not like a definite Republican stronghold.
Exactly. So none of those 3-1, the 3R 1D map, none of them
The
was
numbers
strong
have been wrong, though. The numbers have been wrong, and the reason why I say that is because the tide is changing. I don't think that Republicans often factor in the fact that millennials are the largest voting base right now, and Gen Z is really catching up right now, and they are not taking into consideration this group of people and how they think.
Right.
This is a group of people that want things like the 90s. Okay. In the 90s, I think we had Bush and then Bill Clinton kind of thing. That's kind of their mindset going into stuff. They want things to go back to a time where we all told the truth, where things were more authentic, where people were real with each other. And so when it comes to stuff like this, like the political stuff, we have to be able to relate it to them in a way that they understand, right? And so when they hear that, okay, we want a Republican stronghold in this area, that might seem like foreign to them, but we have to, as Republicans, we have to take into account that even though our voters are they're older, okay, boomers and all of that, the millennial and the Generation Z are voting, okay? Yeah. And so they don't want to vote Democrat because they see what the Democrat Party is doing.
I don't see the Democrat Party is dying on a
They're
vine.
dead.
They are yesterday's news. They're well entrenched, and they know how to pull out a victory here and there.
Right.
But generally speaking, they have no momentum.
They're done.
Well, redistricting won't take place again till 2031, and I think that they're looking at the long game.
Ooh.
Okay, the redistricting committee is looking at the long game as well.
Yes.
And with these margins on the 3 Republican, 1 Democrat map, they're just not that strong. And I looked at the model myself, and I have to agree that we could end up losing 4
I don't
to
blame
nothing. Now, when we look at the 2 maps that got advanced by the redistricting committee,
Yes.
we've got the Mike Gibson map, which is a solid 2-2. So both the Republicans and the Democrats get a solid 2 precinct.
And the
2 precinct.
Democrats.
And one of the reasons the charter that was put forward to the redistricting committee
Yes.
had resolutions that elected officials would not be moved or unseated by this redistricting. There's other considerations that are non-political.
We have to cover that.
Okay.
So the charter given by the county commissioners to the redistricting committee is that what they tried to do to Andy Myers cannot be done again.
That's right.
Okay.
That makes sense.
No. the voter should always be. Why are we putting the county commissioners in the top seat? The objective, the goal should always be the voter, the
Yes,
citizen,
it's
the
the people.
resident. The objective should be, to the redistricting committee should be, we want what's best for the people.
Right.
Right.
But no, what they did is they put them in front. No, we want to make sure that the county commissioners keep their spots. It's a political mess and nightmare in Fort Bend.
I think the thinking there too was the people voted in those commissioners, even though they were illegal maps.
I was going to say the maps were illegal.
I know.
So much was caught up in that.
I understand, but I think that if they unseat a commissioner, the perception to the voters that voted him in would not be good. But nevertheless, that was the charter. It's kind of like a jury following the rules of the court, right?
Yes.
Or the rules that they're given.
Well, what it is, it's the King's Court's putting the King's Court first. That's what it is.
Well, regardless,
Don't comment.
I will say that the 2 maps that have been advanced,
Yes.
the How People Voted map, Amendment D,
Oh, okay.
which got 7 votes because one of the Democrats voted the extra point for it because I think it's a little less advantageous to the Republicans. And then the Mike Gibson map. That is the one that the chairman of the Fort Bend GOP is recommending, and that's a solid 2-2, and it has the least amount of problems. It the least amount of elected officials are going to get, no one gets disrupted. Major projects that are happening in different precincts will not get disrupted
They have
as much.
all look
Jobs.
They had
chairman
the opportunity to go
Chairman of Fort
3-1.
Bend County?
Yes.
They had the opportunity to go
Bobby
3-1.
Everly.
Bobby Everly. Okay.
Yes.
that's
Bobby
who-
Everly, right? They had the opportunity to go 3-1, and now they have 1,000,001 reasons why they can't go 3-1.
There's multiple factors.
Yeah,
But
all of a
again-
sudden, the Democrats are evil eye focused. We're going to go 3-1 come hell or high water.
See, we're
When
wanting
it's
to go for the
Republicans- Yeah, when it's Republicans, this, that, and the other.
I mean, when I look at this city map that was 3 Republican, 1 Democrat, I have to say it's pretty much just 1-1, and the other 2 are a toss-up. It's too close of a margin.
That's kind of risky.
It's risky. So, I understand.
That one advanced?
Well, you can see, I mean, when you've got just 50%, 50.07% Republican and 51.25%, the margin's so slim that you're not guaranteeing
call
that
it.
precinct. Right now, what we have is 2 guaranteed precincts for each part. We've got 2 guaranteed Democrat and pretty much 2 guaranteed Republican. I'm not saying it's ideal, but there's so many layers to these maps that we can't possibly understand. They've been working on this for a month or 2. So, the Mike Gibson map is the one that got 6 votes out of the redistricting committee that is being recommended by Bobby Everly, has the least amount of issues for Republicans.
So who is this the most? Okay, so this is going to be advantageous for our side, the
Definitely,
Republican Party.
definitely. Because we're going right now, the current maps are a solid 3 Democrat, 1 Republican.
As
And-
it is now.
As it is now.
Okay.
And so the chances of Andy Myers winning his seat again are, again, less than 10%. The chances of a new candidate winning precinct 3 are next to 0 right now with the current maps. With the new maps that have been advanced, the
Yes.
2 that have been advanced, it is almost a certainty that a Republican will win precinct 1 and 3, and a Democrat will win 2 and 4. So it is a big improvement.
So the GOP strategy is to advance these 2 maps that they feel most likely will help us at least keep what we have as far as our commissioners go and
That's
things
right.
of that nature.
That is
interesting.
correct. Yes.
Interesting.
And secure that until the next redistricting, which would be
2030.
2031. So really, it's up to Republicans to get out and vote and make sure that we get the county judge seat, right? That's where we get our majority. We have to win that county judge seat. And that just takes every Republican getting out to vote and voting all the way down the ballot, the whole ballot. Just vote straight ticket Republican.
Here's what one person said. Quote, I'm not sure why no Republican on the advisory board submitted 2 strong R's and 1 good margin R map. It would have been ideal. But apparently there were other complications.
Yes, I agree with that. There are other considerations that would mean moving elected officials, moving Republican officials, lots of job loss, lots of disruption. There's many layers to these maps that, I really dove in and tried to understand. And I can honestly say I wouldn't be comfortable with the 3 Republican 1 unless they came with better numbers. But apparently they can't get there, right? They could not get better margins than 50.07 and 51.25. So really, in a slight blue wave, we stand to lose all 4.
But again, Tamara, I'm going to say, where's the slight blue wave coming from?
I agree.
I mean, where
agree.
is that in the future? There is no blue wave. They are a dead party. They're a
Right.
dying party.
There's actually really been a shift. Especially as a conservative, I've kind of been watching the walk away from the Democrat thing lately,
Yes.
especially after Charlie Kirk. There were a lot of people that woke up to kind of their ideology, the direction that they were going.
The propaganda.
They're like waking up from this stupor, right? And they're saying, I was wrong.
It's mass hypnosis.
It was mass hypnosis,
Yeah.
It was like a big psychological, and I call it sorcery, but it was a psychological tactic by the left, and they have had these people under a spell for so long, and they're waking up. There really is no blue wave that's going to happen.
I hope not.
don't foresee Democrats doing much of anything. They still don't even understand why they lost the last election.
Right.
You know that?
And those
I
are
think
the-
they're
those-
scared. I think they're, I mean, you never count them out, but they are in a bad way right now.
Yeah, they are. There's no ability to see their own false.
But
They don't have that.
The voters themselves that identified as Democrat, I truly believe that most of us are conservatives.
Right.
And like I said before, that's not a political party. That's
No.
just a way of life.
It's a way of life.
You live within your means. You want faith and freedom and family
Right.
and all the good things. And so those people that thought they were Democrats are starting to see the light and come
Right.
over to the right side.
Well,
So-
a lot of them are independents now. I've been seeing a
Yes.
lot of them like they're kind of doing
They
this
won't say
well.
Democrat.
Yeah, they won't say I'm a Republican. They're scared to go there, but they're like independents now. But at the same time, right? I think that we have to go for the jugular as Republicans because we never do. And there's just this known but not really talked about so much. It's mentioned every now and again, this weakness in our party, okay? We are conservative, but that doesn't mean that we're weak. We need to take authority over the devil because the left has shown us that they are in lockstep with Lucifer. You don't attack children and groom them through the library, their form of research, through their teachers. You don't
And the
do
gender
this,
sex clubs,
right?
yeah.
And say that you're a conservative. You can't be a conservative and do that.
No.
You can't be a Christian and do any of that.
Okay, so Tamara, we've had some good success at the state level with stopping the infusion of sexual materials, illicit sexual materials in our
Absolutely.
school libraries, in our schools, in the teachings of our schools. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, again, huge.
Are we done with this topic here?
Yeah,
Okay,
and I just want to say for Republicans, where we're at right now, the Mike Gibson map is a huge improvement from where we are today with the
that's the
current
2-2.
maps. And I, as a former government auditor, have to say that is the map that I would choose. And I got to see the models, and I do think that is the best one. If we could get to a solid 3 Republican, 1 Democrat, I'd be like, go for it. That's not unethical to draw on political lines.
Right.
But we can't get there based on the voting history that we have in Fort Bend County since 2018. So making the assumption it continues to move right, maybe so, that map would work. But the slightest blue wave where we could lose all 4 with that map. So that's where we're at. But back
the
to
big if.
Yeah, it's a big if.
There's no blue wave.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
It's
go
a
ahead.
big if, but
No blue wave coming.
This is a solid 2-2.
Dying dog.
So now Republicans get out and vote the whole ballot, and
Yes.
get that county judge seat won.
Yes.
And then we have a majority back, which we haven't had in
Absolutely.
Fort Bend County since 2018.
Absolutely.
But back to the children, which has been a cause for me for many years.
Absolutely.
And just shocking to know that this is even up for debate or needs a law to get, pornographic materials out of schools. And people are still in denial, and you could show it right to their face. But that's okay. And it's not the librarian's fault.
No.
They didn't know.
No.
The American Library Association creates a gold standard list that all schools across the country purchase from.
Right.
And boom, it's in your library. And they never disclosed that there was any sexual content. But this legislative session was absolutely amazing for parental rights,
Yes.
the protection of children, and just fortifying our curriculum, our content, and everything in K through 12 schools. So with the passage of SB 12, signed in by Governor Abbott, that is the most comprehensive parental rights child protection bill for K through 12 in the country. And Representative Steve Toth had called me from the House floor during a debate. And I don't even know to this day how he got my phone number, but God bless him, because he's just out there fighting for children and doing so much good and passing such good legislation. It's incredible. But he wanted evidence about the gender sex clubs and adding that amendment to SB 12 to make sure that those are not allowed in schools, because that is where a lot of grooming is taking place.
Yes.
And children are lured in innocently, like free snacks, free food, join
Right.
your GSA club. And if you saw the flyers, it just looks like this colorful, fun event. Well, the typical classes in a high school gender sex club would be pansexuality, bisexuality,
Furries.
intersex, pronouns,
Yep.
lessons on pronouns.
Yep.
So imagine after a couple years of that. And the key was I found an article from the high school newspaper that said, don't worry, if you don't want to tell your parents, we use codes for you if you want to join the gender sex club. So, again, it's just giving parental authority back. If you want your child to do a club like that after school, but it just doesn't belong in a publicly funded school where parents don't have that control and authority and consent, right? So those were prohibited now for K through 12, and
Hallelujah.
just big steps in our laws to protect children. So
To give parents their teeth back,
Yes.
because they've been stripped. What you said there, parental authority.
Has
right
been
there.
stripped,
It
yes.
has been stripped. And a lot of
Slowly.
parents didn't even know because they're working.
They're working.
They, both parents, if there's two parents in the house, both are working. If there's a single parent, he or she is working,
Yes.
And so they don't really have, it's not that they don't want to, they can't.
They're busy,
They're
right?
busy.
They're working.
And that's what our
providing.
job is to represent these people that cannot stand there and represent
And
themselves.
that's what activists and advocates do.
Yes.
Is just keep that watchful eye. If you're able and have time to get involved, do it.
Yes.
Another wonderful law is that all school board members across Texas are going to have to get trained for parental rights.
Hallelujah.
I mean, so Julie Pickering was appointed the head of that committee.
I love Julie.
I know, she's amazing. Our State Board of Education representative
They're
for
awesome.
our area, Julie Pickering, is amazing.
Absolutely.
She just goes to bat for the children and for parents and teachers. So she's in charge of, kind of creating the manual that will train every single school board member in Texas on parental rights and what the laws are.
Excellent.
It's just wonderful, because I've heard from so many parents that, they're just stuck in this grievance process, or they're ignored by the school, or, the schools have immunity and they can't do anything. Well, a lot of that immunity has now been taken away with another bill.
So how does that work? I mean, okay, so how does that, what you're saying, these bills that have passed, and I'm very grateful that Texas Ledge has prioritized children and
They have.
education. However, like for things like VOCA, it's not out. Schools are still taking VOCA money.
right.
So how does that work with something like that?
Okay, so SB 12 bans all gender ideology on any K through 12 school. It doesn't matter if it's in the library, in the curriculum, in the counselor's office. It is absolutely prohibited to teach a child K through 12 that you can change your gender in any Texas school. It's groundbreaking. This is the first law of its kind in the country. So if for example, what we found with VOCA was that certain counselors were using the VOCA funds to transition children
Yes.
who felt that they were a different gender,
Right.
and they were doing it behind parents' backs.
Because they have
'Cause
immunity with that VOCA legislation.
right.
It's really about abuse. Like that was what that whole thing was about. Is like if a kid is being abused at home, that they can secretly go and tell the school, they can help them get medical care and all that stuff behind their parents' back.
That's right.
But see, what's been happening is the kid comes in and says that their parents hate them because they're trying to transition to another gender. And then a new file under their new trans name will be created that the parent does not have access to. Why do I know this? Because I experienced this in another state.
Wow.
So that you can't go in there, like if I'm asking about my child, right? That's a different file. All their grades, their progress reports are going to be in it. I have no idea that they're going up under this new name, and there's another file that has been created for them
Wow.
in which they're getting testosterone or whatever they want
So
to.
your child
Yes.
was transitioned at school
Yes.
behind your back.
Absolutely,
You know,
groomed and
people will say to
transitioned.
me, "This isn't a problem. We don't need
It's
these
a big
laws."
problem
I
in
go, It's not
America."
a problem until you meet somebody who has had a child groomed and transitioned in school, and I have heard that it is nearly impossible to affirm reality and detransition them.
It is
It
because
is.
a lot of these kids, like she's autistic, so they're very highly impressionable when they feel that somebody is their friend and accepts them for how they are, and so that's what they do to these children. Now, I think it's still happening today, even with that, with these laws that are being passed. I think what they will use is they will say this is a form of abuse. Okay.
Right.
Because that's how they're doing that with the VOCA money. They're saying that my parents are abusing me verbally because I'm transitioning. So they may not be grooming them. They're saying it's riding under abuse now.
Well, that was the argument of the Katy ISD school board members that voted against the gender ideology policy. They said, well, if we out these kids to their parents, they could be abused. And I thought, well, if they're abused, that could
That's a
be
different
reported. That's a
situation.
different situation.
Yeah, but who is the school board? You're there to represent the parents.
That's right.
And what you're doing is you're saying the parents are the problem. Right there, you see the ideology of the school board.
That's right.
It is against
Parents.
The parents.
Yes.
We
So
need to maybe
luckily
make
they
some
lost.
language about the word abuse, because that's such a
Broad term.
and that gives the left room to just run with our children again.
Yes.
Abuse.
Yes.
What is that?
Yeah.
Is
It's
it
a
because
very
I
vague
said
term, yeah.
no, focus on your studies, don't worry about what all of that is? That's a distraction. Worry about your school.
Yeah.
That could be abuse.
Yeah.
You know,
So-
my kid used religious abuse because I'm a Christian, and I explained to her that in the Bible it was wrong, and I basically preached to her. It was a lecture, you know, parents lecture their kids, we discipline our kids, you know, but that falls under like religious abuse. I'm not going to
Wow.
kill you. I'm not going to have an honor killing because you know.
Well, they need God. God is non-secular, and now we've got
Right.
the 10 Commandments in the classrooms,
Right.
another law that was passed. You know, and my argument is you're not really proselytizing. It is kind of non-secular. In the
is.
entrance of every school, you have "In God We Trust." On the back of the police cars for KDIs, you've got "In God We Trust."
Right.
On your money.
On our money.
We have "In God We Trust."
Come on now.
You know, so in the absence of God in schools has just kind of allowed for these evil ideologies to sneak in slowly.
Yes.
And now the tide is turning, and so much is changing, and so much good is coming. So I'm very optimistic about the way
I am
things are
too.
moving.
Yep.
So
You know, one woman took God out of the schools. Madeline Murray O'Hare.
Oh, I didn't know.
One woman in the 60s did this. A terrible. She died terribly too. They found parts of her body. I don't even think they
Oh.
found the whole thing.
I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah, it's a very
Wow.
interesting rabbit trail to go down. But if one woman can do that, one woman.
what can one woman do for good?
Come on now. Come on.
And that's what I always
you
say.
know?
When you see the needle move, it only takes one person to make a change.
Right.
So stand up and get involved. We
Right.
need more people,
Get
more
involved.
conservatives to get involved. And I know we're busy working and raising families, but get
Make
involved.
time.
Get involved. Poll watch. Get
Yes.
trained to poll watch.
Yes.
Join a Republican club like the Republican Women's Club of Katy.
Absolutely.
We provide poll watchers for the whole county.
Yes.
And we train you. So get involved, step up. This is the time not to be silent anymore, you know.
I was phone banking for Harris County the other day.
Good for you.
And we were calling people that have voted Republican in the past. I talked to this guy. He was Hispanic, and I'll never forget this. I asked him if he wanted to be a precinct chair. He said no because I'm illiterate. That's what he told me on the phone. I said, "Can you take verbal instructions?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "Okay, well, I'll do it." I built up his confidence.
Good.
And he's going to sign up.
Good. We need to fill those precincts.
Right, we do. And so I just think, because we do also have an illiteracy problem in our country, in our state, we need to try to build people's confidence. There are people that did vote for Trump, that did vote for Abbott, that maybe feel that they're not, they can't do anything for the Republican Party,
can
but
do
they
so
have
much.
got to just stand up and say, what can I do? And somebody will help you. Like she said, we'll train you.
And the Harris County GOP actually has an Adopt a Precinct program. So even if you don't live in a precinct that's missing a precinct chair, you can adopt a precinct and help get voter engagement up. Meaning you're block walking, you're phone
Right.
banking, you're sharing flyers for good
Yes.
conservative candidates to that
Yes.
precinct, just to get voter engagement up and get everybody to the polls to vote for good conservatives.
See, that's so awesome.
Excellent. Thank you, ladies. Appreciate both of you. It was an incredible hour plus.
Was it?
Absolutely, yeah.
Flew by.
We nailed
We
it.
could do this all day.
I know, right?
I know. Yep. Let's
Go for coffee.
Right.
Yep. It was good.
Thank you.
But tell us, where can we learn about your campaign?
Oh, wonderful. So you could go to Tamara for fortbend.com. I just announced, press release came out 2 days ago, and I'm really excited to serve my community in a different way.
Yes.
And my background for the county clerk's role, I have 15 years in land acquisitions and divestitures. I also was a former award-winning government auditor. So my goal is to carry on the legacy of our wonderful Republican County Clerk, Laura Richards. She's done an amazing job for over a decade. She's integrating, innovating, protecting home titles, and I want to continue with that and keep improving on that. So improved customer service, improved innovation, and I will have a team that will protect your home from title theft. That is going to be a priority. And also, I would get to sit on the election commission. And I've been an election judge elected by the election commission of Fort Bend County
Excellent.
for 3 years. So I have a lot of insight into that, and that's an important role that the county clerk has. And so So please vote for me, and I will do a great job for our community.
Very good.
you.
Alexandria, tell us about your campaign.
Hey, you can check me out, alexandriabutlercampaign.org. You can go on there. You can get in touch with me, info@alexandriabutlercampaign.org. Check me out on Facebook. I'm on Twitter now. I'm on Instagram, and also I am on TikTok. So just check me out. I'm running in District 9. Campaign's going well. It kind of started over for everybody because we were redistricted. So this is we're all starting at ground level. We're all getting to know our new district, and things are going great. God is blessing. So
very good.
Wonderful.
Well, thank you, ladies, both. I wish you both luck in your campaigns.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll have you on again.
Thank you.
And this is Chris Heasley with the Chris Heasley Radio Show. We will see you back here next week with one more hot topic.